teenage redditors, what's the worst part of being a teenager these days? The pressure of being expected to go to a good college as you anxiously hear about student debt getting higher and higher. You kind of think it'd be cool, but you're scared shitless of the prospect of being in debt for so many years after you graduate. At the same time as everyone's assuring you that if you don't go to college you're a loser idiot who will work at McDonald's forever. Also, the idiotic technology stigma from older generations. I was reading a book on a Kindle for English in my French class. We were given permission to read, and she not only took it away from me, but yelled at me for texting during class. I tried to tell her that the dang thing was literally a slightly more advanced book, but she refused to believe me. On the same note, how online friends are considered not real because they're totally computer programs and not people on the other side of the monitor. Totes. Seriously, my dad told me he could work for a summer and the money he made would pay for a whole semester of college. Now I'm going to be in approximately $12,000 in debt per year for a public, in-state university. My parents always tease me about not having many friends. When I do ask to go over to someone's house vice versa, they say no. They want me to make friends without being with friends. Also, very high expectations suck. Having everyone ask what you want to do with your life. I don't even know what I want for breakfast. Everything is taken 20 times more serious. I just got a 10-day suspension for a freaking box cutter in my car for work. I am a straight A student with a perfect behavior record. My dad points out in front of the whole school board that in the 70s he had a shotgun in his car for hunting while he was at school. Zero tolerance policy is some crap. You can't do stupid crap for fun these days without some frick with a smartphone filming it. Some things just need to stay within a certain group of people. The constant urge to share things by everyone ruined that. I refuse to have my picture taken anytime I drink or be a hoodlum. I'm very adamant about it and people think it's strange, but my Facebook is spotless. Being treated like a child and then expecting us to act like adults and take on adult responsibilities the moment we turn 18. I'm 18. I voted today, and I'm going to my freshman orientation for college next week. I also had to ask to get some water and take a pee today. College educations cost more and mean less. Getting a degree is basically expected of us, and the great jobs that you're promised aren't always there when you're done. Storekeepers looking at you like you're about to steal something. Other teenagers and crappy education. I totally agree. Our school system is just so screwed up. I hate the No Child Left Behind program. It should be renamed All Children Held Behind. I am expected to transition from youth into an adult instantly. I need to have my career planned out, my college picked, and a job on the side while I still suck at doing things like tying my shoe. I suck at it, I don't know why. It is so much pressure and I do not feel I have the maturity needed yet, but I need to fake it to make it. SHHHHH. Everyone is faking it. Welcome to being an adult. Everyone expects you to do something great. There's people who can do X better than me. Why don't you go help them? If your parents ever say stuff like, when your brother was your age, he was getting straight A's, just reply back, when Abraham Lincoln was your age, he was the president. Binge. Parents. I have a tracker on my phone, and my parents flip crap and scream and hit me whenever I turn it off. Oh, and the sudden gravity of the world and my situation here. School food is at an all-time low. Cardboard and something they found in the back lot. Delicious. We get put down by our elders for being wrong in some way because of the time frame in which we were born. So what if we don't have to walk 5 miles uphill every day to get to school? That doesn't mean I'm any less a contributing member of society than you are. Both ways in the snow. How much stricter the law has become and how easy it is to get in a lot of trouble. I hear all of these stories from dad and his friends, my uncles, friends' dads, and older cousins about all the things that they did and how sometimes they would get caught by the cops doing the regular stupid teenage stuff, speeding, racing, drinking underage, painting, bawling in the street, getting into fist fights, or getting caught with a little bit of pot. From what they told me, the cops seemed a lot more relaxed and let them off with warnings because they understood that teens do stupid things and try drugs and alcohol. I hear all of these situations and think if I ever did any of this and got caught, I would very likely get in a lot of trouble and possibly put in jail. It seems like no one remembers, mostly when it comes to the law, that the time to freak up and learn from stupid mistakes is when you're a teenager and high school. If I did half the things I hear that they used to do in high school, I would be in jail. Way too much focus on grades rather than learning. This also causes way too much stress in school. That is unhealthy and can create a terrible connection between the student and the joy of learning. Also, the college process. Frick the college process. Don't let schooling get in the way of your education. Aspiring to be great or do something meaningful with your life, then realizing the system and society you were raised in will be the first thing to beat you and your ambitions down. I totally agree. There are a lot of high school kids who want to turn their passions into careers. The anti-art circle jerk on Reddit really makes me sad. If someone wants to get an art degree and thinks they can make a career out of it, all power to you. Being expected to work for free to get experience, especially knowing not too long ago on-the-job training was paid and covered what college and internships do now. The fact that we don't believe in our own generation. The fact that the generation preceding us doesn't believe in us, even though they complained when the generation preceding them did the same. No matter how great we are, what great things we do, we are classified as a lazy generation that isn't as good as those before us. But if this question was asked 5, 15, or 50 years ago, the answer would be the same. It's a multi-generational, unavoidable, self-deprecating cycle of stereotypes that are in place to help legitimize the elder generations after they felt scorned when they were teens. And instead of fighting it as a group, we agree and blame each other. Think of it like this. Even the so-called greatest generation, who won World War II, had parents who thought they were lazy and entitled. That adults assume that life is the same now as it was when they were teens. Having a 4.0 GPA, 2,200 SAT, leadership roles in clubs, and volunteering will not necessarily get you into a good college. Getting a college degree will not guarantee you a job. Getting a job, and sometimes two, will not guarantee a livable wage. Our efficacy as human beings is judged based on increasingly competitive, and therefore difficult to achieve, milestones. As a student who hauled ass in high school and continues to work for good grades, internships, and a job in college, it is frustrating that what I do is never enough. Parents tell me I'm not educated enough on social issues and I'm not making up my own mind. I get educated on social issues and make up my mind on those issues, but I don't share my parents' opinions on things. Suddenly my perspective on these issues doesn't matter because I'm too young and I lack real-world experience. Give me a freaking break. The worst part is honestly homework. I would rather go to school for longer and have less breaks if we don't get any homework because it just ends up being longer work than if we just added 2 more hours of school and tons of stress. I totally agree. Homework just gets way too stressful as you go through the years, and in Australia for your last 2 years of high school you go through such a grind. 6 hours a night, and it is just ridiculous. I constantly have breakdowns over my homework and it really needs to be cut. Finding a good job. The stereotypes about us. Not all of us are pot smoking, weed sock wearing, horny, uneducated and disrespectful douches. We are considered a terrible generation, when really we are probably no more rebellious or terrible than our parents were at our age. Other kids my age that think they're better than others because they listen to classic rock. Brave words coming from you, Eddie Van Halen. Peer pressure. I'm sure it was the same years ago, but I recently moved from Massachusetts to California, and it was my first time ever being legitimately exposed to anything like weed or alcohol. I spend time with the people who are all about partying and hooking up and stuff, and I don't like that stuff, but I like the people. So my best friend come up to me with questions like, so have you hooked up with anyone yet? And I'm like, nope, and he instantly goes around to every girl he knows I'm into or find somewhat attractive and asks them to hook up with me. And I know he means well, but it just makes me feel really weird because I was brought up being told never to touch drugs or alcohol and not to date until college and stuff like that. Just me. Of course, it could be different for others. Also, you're constantly pressured to excel at something, and I don't. I'm just not amazing at anything. I'm average in every way. Being written off as a teenager, regardless of your mental capacity or maturity. I think most adults tend to do that because of how freaking stupid most of us actually are. Participation awards are dumbing everyone down. My peers are too entitled. Peer pressure. The pressure of having to lose your virginity, smoke, drink and do drugs. I am almost 19 and am the last virgin among my friends. They are not really pressuring me to lose my virginity, but it just sucks to feel left out of the loop. You'd probably feel better if you smoked a bowl and got laid. Being written off as a hormonal teenager really sucks. Parents don't believe that I'm depressed. They think I've been in a bad mood for these past few years. I'm pretty sure that suicidal thoughts alone would merit a trip to the therapist's office, not to mention the daily struggle of getting out of bed, going to school, hiding my wrists, pretending to be normal. I'm a teenager, so I'm lazy or moody. Everybody generalizing that every teenager is irresponsible and full of angst. How anti-tech some older folks are. You have to make crucial life decisions very early on and no authority is there to help you choose. One of my friends recently announced she is pregnant. She's 14. People say our generation is childish. I disagree. Our generation is growing up too fast. It's terrifying. I've still yet to have my first kiss, drive a car, drink alcohol, smoke weed, have a child, all these things that are now being achieved by kids 3 years younger than me. It's just not right. School is now about passing instead of learning. Horrible education. The government seems to have just given up on us these days. Whereas good teachers can definitely inspire, it is up to every individual person to self-actualize and take responsibility for how they will use the things they learn. Knowing how badly the generations before us have fricked the environment up is a really scary thought. You hook up with people, you're a W. You don't hook up with people, you're a prude. The type of crap other teenagers are into. No Greg, I would not like to get pee drunk at 10 AM. Double quote. Just the transition. I just want to get settled, out of college, secure job, marriage. I am 19 and currently enrolled in my third different college. Granted, not everyone chooses to transition that much, but it is frustrating that if you state your opinion, or what you believe in, or go against your teachers or parents, you are seen as a rebellious child who has no respect for authoritarian figures. Your creativity is beaten away, and you are taught to be subordinate. If you are taught that being different is bad, or that if you are different there must be something wrong with your brain, then you will eventually look for an escape. Some people resort to drinking, drugs, and mindless entertainment as an escape, as a way to numb their individuality and not think, and then everybody suddenly starts wondering why, when the answer is obvious, but no one wants to accept it. Thus, people start pitying the same generation that has been forced into this corner, and in doing so looks down on it, and wonders what situation brought us to behave the way we do, while meanwhile, the same people criticizing and looking down on us does not take a second to spare and look at what faults lies in themselves or the very same generation that they are living in. Being told that everything that is discussed in school is absolutely necessary later in life. Frick that, I'd like trade schools, where we learn what we need to learn, and not every dang thing the human race has discovered since the beginning of our existence. You have been visited by the chunk of good fortune. Like this post to enable good fortune for 26 minutes. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.